Welcome to Kalam Learning Lab YouTube channel. Let's continue with our previous video. And if you are new to our channel, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to check out our previous videos as well as our upcoming videos in our graphic design playlist. Let's get into our video. We already have loaded a picture over here and we are going to look about vibrance. So vibrance is nothing but it is a feature which automatically increases the intensity of muted colors in the picture. Let's start working on it. So what you have to do is either by having your image as a background or a layer in the layers panel, all you need to do is come here to the bottom and as usual you will see a circle button. Just click that and it will expand the menu. Now come to the bottom part and you will see an option which says vibrance. By clicking on it, you will see a triangle kind of shape just appeared, which is the vibrance column. By clicking on this option here, we have opened a panel which says vibrance. So what a vibrance does is, for example, assume that I have a picture of flower over here, which needs to be a bit more colored, but because of some reasons, there are a few areas wherein the colors have been muted. It's in 0 now. Suppose I need a bit more of brownish color in this image. What I need to do is just change this all to 100 and just to show you, now you can see there is a slight change in the image. That is, the petals of this flower is a bit more brownish in color now. Suppose what happens if I drag it all the way to the left now? I will show that for you. And now you can observe a slight change in the image again. It has become a bit like black and white in color. So that's what a vibrance does. It either mutes your image to a more extent or it enhances the color to a greater extent. Now, saturation is nothing but it is the intensity or the richness of the image. For example, to the same picture, if we increase the saturation to the highest point, you can now see the difference. The image is far more brownish in color. If we reduce the saturation to all the way down, you can again notice that the image is now black and white in color. It happens because when we have reduced this image to a far more below point, the image, all the richness of this image has been removed by us, and that is why it has become a black and white in color. So now going back to 0 again. So simple as that, guys. This is what a vibrance does. Hue is basically nothing but it is the color of the image. So it is like when you are adjusting something with the help of a hue, it means that you are adjusting the color of the image. And saturation, as I said you previously, it is nothing but the intensity or the richness of an image. And coming to the lightness, lightness is nothing but it controls the brightness of the image. You can either increase the lightness to make it a bit more brighter or decrease the lightness to make it all the way dark. So let's start by adjusting some hue and saturation corrections to this image. What you can do is the same way as I said you for vibrance, you just have to come down here and select this button again. In the bottom, just below vibrance, you will see an option that says hue or saturation. Click on it and as usual the panel just pops in. Now let me show you one by one. As I said, hue is the color of the image. Now everything is in 0, which means everything is in a midpoint. Now let us just take the hue all the way to the right and let's see what happens. So I'm just, as I drag it to the right, the color is gradually changing. As you can see in the hue panel, depending on the color bar, the image is adjusting itself to that color. But here you can observe that as I increase and decrease the color over here, it is just changing the color of the subject and not the entire picture. It means that it fixes a subject and the corrections just work upon that particular subject. So now, as we increase and decrease, we are finding a color difference over here. So I'll just show that for you. In this way, depending upon the picture, you can adjust the color because each and every picture is different and each and every picture is gonna have separate color properties. So what you can do is you can just perform a trial and error, as I keep on saying you, for each and every effect, because everything here is based on trial and error. Just keep on changing until it satisfies you. That's it. And next is saturation. Saturation, as I showed you before, it is the richness of the image. So as I increase the saturation over here, you can find that the richness of this image is enhancing to that extent that you can see the water droplets very clearly now, as the richness of this image is getting enhanced. Now, taking it all the way to 100 is not a good idea, no matter whatever an image it may be. So for this image, the ideal saturation would be to a maximum of 50. If you just take it above 50 to some extent, then it means literally you're killing this image, because you can notice that as I increase the saturation beyond a level which is more than 50, the image is getting noisier, which means there are more grains in this image now. Lightness, as I said earlier, it controls the brightness of this image. Because I will show you what happens when you increase this lightness above 10 and below 10. For example, I am increasing this lightness, and as I increase it way more, you can see that the image is getting whiter and more whiter. So if it is in 100, then it is definitely not looking good. The same goes with minus 100 as well. So for this image, the ideal lightness would be plus 3. Plus 3 is more than enough for this image. And no matter whatever the image is, a lightness above 10 and below 10 is definitely not gonna look good. So that is all about lightness, guys. You can just practice using stock images until a time when you feel that you are okay with this kind of features. The next thing that we are going to work here is all about type. Now, type is nothing but the text that we use in a graphic design. Maybe it might be a brochure, a poster, or a postcard, or whatever the design may be. So let's quickly start designing a postcard for a gift shop might be. And we will detailedly look into the properties of type, layers, and everything in this. What I'm going to do is first just come to the file and create a new document. I'm going to name this as gift poster. Now it is asking me about the document type, and since it is gonna be a postcard sized poster, the ideal height and width for this is 6 by 4, which is ideal for a postcard sized document like this. So just hit OK, and you can see that we have created a menu here. I already have a stock image of a gift box, which I'm gonna import it in this image. And to do that, generally what you have to do is come to the top left above panel, click in file, go all the way below, and you will find an option which says place embedded. So this selecting on this place embedded will allow you to import images into your design. Now, as you can see in my screen that I just imported an image from my system, I'm gonna use this image for designing a poster. So what I'm going to do is, first, as soon as you import an image, you might find that the size of the image that you have imported might or might not be accurate. What you have to do is, as soon as importing, you will find that the image will contain a box with the X mark in this, just like what you are seeing right now on the screen. And you will be having some options wherein you can resize the image like this. And you can resize the image to whatever the size you want, just like this. Or I want this image to fit exactly to my screen, so I'm dragging it all the way up, and I feel that this is okay. So you can either hit enter on your keyboard, or you can come to the top over here and select this button, and that's it. Now very quickly, let me show you something. Now you have imported this image and you have this image. Suppose if you want to rotate this image or scale this to another size, or you want to warp this image, you can do everything in this column. What you have to do is, you have to make sure that your image is selected in the layers panel over here. And very quickly I will rename this, since it is looking so clumsy. I will just rename this as gift image. That's it. Now what you can do is, just come here to the about top menu, click on edit, and you will find an option all the way down which says transform. Now if you open this option, you will again find a menu that has popped up which says scale, rotate, skew, distort, perspective, and wrap. Now what scale does is, you can just increase or decrease the height of the image, just like how we did in the beginning. So this is fine for me. I'll just hit enter. Now the next feature is, you can again come all the way down in the transform, and there is an option which says rotate. So this image, you will be able to see the angle very next to your cursor right now. That makes you easier to understand which angle you are rotating your image. So I would need this at 1.1. So yeah, 1 is fine. Let's start working on the type for this image. What you have to do is, just come to the tools column in the left, and you will see an option over here which is symbolized as T. That means type. So it's a type tool. You can either select this in here, or you can press T in your keyboard, which does the same function. Now after selecting in here, just come to the part of your image where you want your type tool to be, and press and drag this, and you will see that you are creating a type box in your image. Finish creating a type box, you will immediately see that a menu has been popped up in the top corner, which is, if you come over here, this part is nothing but the font of your text, and this is whether you want it to be in a regular shape or bold or italic, and this is the size of your font, and this is how do you want your type text to be, whether to be sharp, crisp, strong, or smooth. And this is the alignment part, that is, if you want this in the left side of your box, you can do that, or center, or you can align it to the right. As I am aligning it, you can notice the changes below in the text box. It has been aligning, and this is the color. Whichever the color you want, you can give it, whichever the color you want, you can just give that to the text. So now quickly what I will do is, I will just create an advertisement text to this, and I always prefer to use garment text. Even you can use that, it will give best results for these kind of advertising designs. Now I have created a text, and what I need to do is, we'll just align this so that let it fit our image. And now align the text here, but as soon as you create a text, if you feel that you need to increase or decrease the size, You can do that, however, by making sure that your text is selected in the layer panel and press the shortcut Ctrl plus T, or however you can do that. As I said you before, you can go to the edit column, transform and scale. So instead of that, for saving time, you can click on the shortcut Ctrl plus T or Command plus T if you're using Mac. So as you have clicked it, you will see that a box again appears and you can just increase or decrease the size for whatever you wish to. I will just increase the size a bit and let me align it over here. With it, and I have just given a fake website ID just for the sake of making it look like a real advertisement. So now we have done with the plain text, and next I'm going to show you how to create warped text. We are going to create a line which says now at a discount of 50%, but instead of aligning it in a plain straight line, we can make it a bit more interesting, and I'll show you how it's done. Just come to the panel here again, to the tools panel, and you will see there is something, an option which says ellipse tool. You can either select it, you can press the shortcut U in your keyboard. Now just come over here and we will create an ellipse tool. Now you can see that we have created an ellipse tool. So what I want to do is my text to be in the path of this ellipse in a circular motion. The text option in your toolbar, or click on the T button in your keyboard and just come to any of the 4 points of your object. Watch this carefully because it might sound a bit complex. So just come to any of the 4 points over here in your smart object and click on any of the 4 points. As you did that, you will notice that you have aligned the text in the same motion of how your object's path was. So now I'm going to enter a text here that says now at a discount of enter. Once you're done with this, and you can see that you have created a text over here. Now you can either click on here or on the text, and the same ways click on Ctrl plus T or Command plus T, and you can align it however you want. We will create a 50% text separately. So again, the same ways, just click on T or come to the tools bar and click on this text and drag and drop wherever you want. Since I need my 50% information to be below, since I need this particular text to have a little bit more of font size, so come to the top over here and let me give this a value of 10 points. I think that would be apt. We just created a text in a eclipse motion, and we have just given a 50% kind of font for this. So you can do the same by practicing on different images and different motions. It necessarily not only need to be in an eclipse form, but it can also be in a shape of rectangle, square, or whatever the shape it may be. Even align the text in a free transform or a free motion by using pen tool, which we'll be looking in the future. So previously on the same image, we saw on how to work with type. Now, very quickly, we are gonna see all about layer style and layer effects. So meanwhile, what I did was I just grouped these color adjustments and text in separate groups so that it will be easier for this tutorial. Now, I have my texts here and you can see all the information over here. Gift your loved ones, giftapp.com, now at discounted 50%. So I need to give a shadow effect to my 50% text here. So what I can do is just click on this 50% text layer in the layers panel in your right bottom. It is going to be important here, so just observe carefully. Now what you have to do is just whatever the text which you want to edit here, select that layer and double click with your mouse. After doing that, now you will see that a menu has been popped up over here which says layer style. Below here, what you have is a list of menus wherein just make sure you come all to the bottom and you see an option here which says drop shadow. Click on this. As I clicked on this, you can definitely observe a change over here this text, that before there was no shadow but now a shadow effect has been applied. The shadow isn't too appropriate, like it is more of like it is scattered everywhere. I just need a proper shadow. To do that, what I can do is just come over here and inside this menu you have a list of options. The first one is opacity. Opacity is nothing but the transparency of your shadow. Increase this from its current settings, which is 16. You can see the difference on the text. The shadows are getting darker and darker as we keep on increasing it. And what happens if it's at 0? Let's see that too. If it is at 0, there is no shadow, simple as that. So let us just give a value between 22 to 30. I will just keep it as 23, which is apt. And I have given it a value which is 23, which is apt now. The next one is angle. Angle is nothing but it is an option for you to decide in which angle or in which part you want your shadow to be projected. So right now it is in 90 degrees, and as it is in 90 degrees you can see the shadow is falling straight below the text. Now for example, I will change this angle to a random number and let's see what happens. I will give it a value which is 120 might be, and as I entered 120, now you can see that the shadow which was falling straight below is now falling at the right side of the image. And the same goes on, you can just play around with the settings. It's all about trial and error, guys. Right now I've changed it to 180 and you can see what happens. It is at 114, it is in 65 now, and it is in minus 63 right now. So it all depends upon the number that we enter. Let it be 125 now, and you can see that the shadow is falling at the right side again. And next is distance. Distance is basically you are deciding how far your shadow should fall from your text. Now it is 17. For example, if we set a higher value than this, then you can see that as I am slowly moving it to the right, the distance is becoming far, far, far away from the font. Now it has just gone out of the picture. So let it be 30. Now we can see that there is some gap between the text and the shadow. Next is spread. Spread is basically nothing but you decide how much area should your shadow consume. The more the spread, the more the thickness of the shadow is. So I don't suggest to use the spread option generally. Let it be somewhere between 2 to 10, because the more you use this option, the more unlikely it is going to look like a shadow. So just leave it around. The next is size. Size is when you decide how much thickness your shadow has to have. Right now it is at a value of 10, and I will move it all the way to right, and you can see that there is no shadow now. Back to, I say, 9. 9 is fine, or else let it be 6. So it is perfect now. On upcoming concepts, we will see the use of upcoming layer styles very soon.